Part 30. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 291. After Xuanggro's explanation, the sisters suddenly understood. Of course, if they quit the Tianlan Empire and join the Shenlong Empire, then they can indeed participate in the first kill. But quitting the empire will undoubtedly cost a lot. At present, Xuanggro, Lengmu, and other masters have already obtained the rank of Major General in the Tianlan Empire. The title of Major General itself is very powerful, and it also comes with LV4 fighting spirit. Once they quit the Tianlan Empire, they will lose their military rank and fighting spirit, which is definitely not something they can bear. By the way, Sister Xuanggro, why should we form an alliance with them? And even if we form an alliance, Sister Xuanggro should be the leader, and our goddess hall should be the dominant position, the sisters said without hesitation. Come to think of it, it makes sense. The goddess hall is one of the top 10 recognized giant guilds. And the Navy and the God of Wrath are only third and fourth-rate guilds. Why are they so arrogant? Haha, I know you are not convinced, but in terms of strength, I am far inferior to Brother Shui. Xuanggro smiled and gave everyone an expression of wait and see, you will know later. Tianlan Empire, Hall of Fame. Damn, those muddy water and yellow hair are really good, their levels are at the forefront. Kaiyufeng suddenly yelled, his face gloomy. Yang Tian and others are not only superior in level now, but more importantly, they have almost swept all the first kills in the dungeons of the Chinese war zone. This is quite terrible. It is not right to say that the Hidden Empire has no advantage at all. The imperial emblem of the Hidden Empire is obviously much stronger than the emblems of the four empires. Of course, this advantage does not exist in front of fighting spirit. More importantly, the members of the Hidden Empire can arrange teleportation arrays and teleport at will in the Chinese war zone, or even the entire Taixu world. If they are ahead in level, they can sweep the first kills of the dungeons in the Chinese war zone, and even after the world map is completely opened in the later stage, they can steal the first kills in other war zones. The strong men of the four empires do not have this advantage. Don't you see, Zeus had maintained a level advantage for a long time before, but he only won the first kill in the local empire? Boss, Han Shui has now formed a navy, plus Huangmao's angry god, Xuanggro's goddess temple, the three major guilds are allied, known as the Water Alliance. Wang Sen pursed his lips and suddenly said. Xuanggro, that woman, she is really cheap, likes to pay for it. Qiu Feng was furious and said, if the goddess temple is in alliance with our Hall of Fame, which of their women will not be eating and drinking hot and having a good time in the future? But Xuanggro, that bitch, just wants to form an alliance with those two garbage guilds. Qiu Feng became more and more angry as he thought about it. The conceited local tyrants under his command were also very unhappy, and they wanted to immediately beat the navy and the angry god into dogs, in order to prove their heroic and powerfulness to the girls of the goddess temple. It's a pity that they are in the Tianlan Empire, while the navy and the angry god's base camp is in the Xinwu Empire. Guangzhou Empire, Demon God. Haha, Xiao Long is pretty good. I was wrong about him before. Xianji smiled calmly. In the entire Guangzhou Empire, there are only two giant guilds, Demon God and Xianbatiangxia. Now, the two guilds are even allied. On this basis, the first kill of the Guangzhou Empire's dungeon was snatched away by an outsider. Xianji had to admit that the other party was really good. Humph, that bastard boy, he really didn't show any mercy after he quit Demon God. He dared to snatch our Demon God's resources, which are more than 100 skill points, Tianmo said without hesitation, and did not show mercy just because Huangmao was Xianji's younger brother. In fact, he was deliberately squeezing Xianji. After all, without Xianji, he would be the president of Demon God. Of course, he mainly considered the interests of Demon God. After all, he himself was one of the shareholders of Demon God Club. An empire has 4 level 70 dungeons, and a dungeon has 3 first kills. The expert first kill rewards 5 skill points, the nightmare first kill rewards 10 skill points, the hell first kill rewards 15 skill points. 1 copy has 30 skill points and 4 copies have 120 skill points. Tien Mo was not wrong, nor was he exaggerating. Skill points are really precious. It doesn't matter. After reaching level 80, the war will break out and their advantages will no longer exist. At that time, they will still be slaughtered by us. Xianji smiled slightly and said very confidently. On the other side, Yang Tian and others took the first kill of all copies of the Xinwu Empire. They took the expert first kill of all level 70 copies of the Tianlan Empire, Guangzhou Empire, and now they are all level 71. They no longer have the challenge rights of those copies that day. As for the first kill of Nightmare and Hell, they can only take it tomorrow. Anyway, they can't escape. After all, except for them and God's left hand, no one has reached level 70. Those people don't even have the qualifications to challenge the level 70 copy. System, you have discovered the Dark Empire. System, you have discovered the Yinfen Wilderness and gained 16,000 experience points. White light flashed, and Yang Tian and his companions were teleported to the Dark Empire, within the mirror protection range of a copy in the Yinfen Wilderness. Of course, under their feet, there was the Dragon Empire teleportation array that Xiao Fei had arranged in advance. The copy in front of Yang Tian and his companions was naturally a level 70 copy. And only players above level 70 were qualified to challenge the level 70 copy. In the current copy mirror protection range, except for Yang Tian and others, there is no other player from the Dark Empire. Yang Tian waved his hand and led the team into the copy. After crushing 3 times, the expert level copy was cleared, but the expected first kill broadcast did not come. Huh? Why is there no first kill broadcast? No skill point reward. Could it be that the expert level first kill of this copy has been taken by someone else? Impossible. Is there anyone at level 70 besides us? There really is, and it happens to be someone from the Dark Empire, God's left hand. Everyone exclaimed in amazement. Immediately, everyone clicked on the Chinese War Zone level ranking list and found that there were still only them and God's left hand above level 70. Obviously, the expert level first kill of this copy was taken by God's left hand, and it was a solo. Tisk tisk, I don't deny God's left hand's strength, but the expert level first kill has a total of 5 skill points and he can only get 2 points at most. In other words, he wasted 3 points in vain. Huang Mao sighed. Yang Tian shook his head and smiled, saying, there is no waste. He must have found out that we are coming. It is better to get a few things first than to get nothing. The so-called waste is something you are qualified to say only when you are in absolute control. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 292. Who has information in the Dark Empire? Yang Tian asked. Brother Shui, I just asked someone. In the 4 level 70 dungeons in the Dark Empire, God's left hand took all the expert first kills, 1 nightmare first kill, and 1 hell first kill. God's left hand is too strong. I didn't expect that he could single-handedly fight the level 70 hell dungeon. At this pace, he can take all the first kills in the 4 level 70 dungeons in the Dark Empire today. Xiao Fei said in amazement. Hearing this, Huang Mao and others were all horrified and gasped. Soloing the same level hell dungeon, this is really too exaggerated. Indeed, Yang Tian can do it. But everyone knows that the reason why Yang Tian can solo the same level hell is because Yang Tian's corpse explosion can kill the last Emperor Beast boss. Even if it can't be killed, it can still use damage to deepen the last kill. You know, Yang Tian's corpse explosion is powerful, but it doesn't mean that all the corpse explosions of necromancers are so powerful. In fact, the basic magic attack of the general necromancer is low, and the number of undead brothers under his command is far less than that of Yang Tian, therefore, even if the percentage damage of the corpse explosion is super high, it still can't cause much damage. In other words, Yang Tian's existence is simply a bug among the necromancers. An existence that breaks the balance. Similarly, everyone suddenly realized and couldn't help but shed cold sweat, God's left hand is probably as strong as a bug. Because God's left hand can take all the first kills of the 4 level 70 copies of the Dark Empire today, Yang Tian and others naturally have no hope. They are all level 71, and all copies of level 70 or below can only be brushed 3 times a day. If they start brushing now, they can only brush to the expert level at most, and they can't catch up. Yang Tian called out and went back to the Xinwu Empire with everyone to continue brushing the Turan tribe. The next day, Yang Tian led the team from the Tianlan Empire to the Guangzhou Empire, and took all the nightmare first kills and hell first kills of the major level 70 copies. The broadcast of the first kill was naturally from the Tianlan Empire to the Guangzhou Empire, which shocked and worshipped countless players. Taking advantage of this wave of popularity, Yang Tian sent people to post a few posts in the forum, which immediately pushed his popularity, the popularity of the Water Army, and even the popularity of the Water Alliance to a new height. After taking many first kills, Yang Tian accumulated 48 points again. Huang Mao and everyone else also gained some valuable skill points. To be honest, with so many skill points, everyone's account basically became a god-level account. It's a pity that Taeju cannot trade accounts, otherwise, I'm afraid that some local tyrants will spend a lot of money to buy it. For the same reason, if they have a god-level account and still can't rise, it's really a waste. After taking a lot of hell first kills, in addition to skill points, Yang Tian rose to level 72 and got a lot of good equipment and gems. You know, he used to wear a set of advanced dark gems at level 60, and only now has he changed to a set of level 70. In Taeju, when the level reaches the first step, the equipment, gems, and skill books you need can no longer be bought, and you must go and brush them yourself. Why? Because no one is higher than your level, and no one can brush things at your level. Although many strong people can brush monsters above their level, they usually only brush small monsters above their level. What can you get by brushing small monsters? Do you dare to brush the Emperor Beast above your level? It doesn't exist. System, congratulations, your skill Darkness Descent has been upgraded, and the current level is LV65. System, congratulations, your skill Darkness Descent has been upgraded, and the current level is LV66. System, congratulations, your skill Darkness Descent has been upgraded. System, congratulations, your skill Darkness Descent has been upgraded, and the current level is LV100. System, sorry, your skill Darkness Descent has reached the maximum level, and you failed to use the skill point. Muddy Water, ID. Occupation, Overlord of the Undead. Warzone, China. Empire, Dragon Empire. Bloodline, Goblin Spirit Bloodline. Title, Royal Commander, Bloodthirsty Demon King, Low-Key Warrior, Rich Man, Super Explorer, Heavy Price, Critical Hit Master. Level 72. HP, 50,000. MP, 1.4 million, 140,000 mana per second. Asterisk Magic Attack, 200,000. Dark Power 4,300. Dark Resistance 7,900, Light, Fire, and Ice Resistance 0. Armor Break 1,150, Magic Penetration 1,150. Steel Guard 50, Magic Guard 0. Absolute Critical Hit Damage, 280%. Skill Points 12. 10 Teams of Undead, LV32 Skeleton Warrior, LV31 Skeleton Mage, LV31 Skeleton Archer, LV31 Zombie, LV30 Mummy, LV30 Headless Horseman, LV30 Werewolf Zombie, LV30 Zombie, LV30 Vampire, LV29 Werewolf Zombie King. Controlled Undead, LV25 Sticky Spider, LV25 Wraith, LV25 Man-Eating Grass. Special Undead, LV30 Self-Destructing Spider, LV25 Little Devil, LV15 Steel Cannon Card, has not been used for a long time, on the verge of elimination. Powerful Undead, LV21 Vampire Count, LV20 Nether Assassin, LV20 Black Knight. Output Skills, LV30 Bone Spear, LV30 Cursed Arrow, LV29 TP Bone Spear, LV25 Dark Sea of Fire, Corpse Explosion, Damage Aggravation. Passive Skills, LV31 TP Skeleton Warrior, LV30 TP Curse Arrow, LV5 TP Dark Sea of Fire. Auxiliary Skills, Ghost Hand, Blink, Undead Transfer, LV100 Dark Descent, LV40 Bone Shield, LV20 Curse, LV20 Weakness. Special Skills, Skeleton Manufacturing, Eye of Truth. Professional Exclusive Skills, Undead Slavery, Undead Transformation, Extreme Summoning. Equipment Additional Skills, Life Mirror, Lucky Body. Bloodline Skills, Grease the Solace of Feet, Movement Speed at 30% within 60 seconds, 5 minutes cooldown. Note, skills without LV display are all skills that cannot be upgraded. Yang Tian spent 36 skill points and directly upgraded the Dark Descent to the maximum. The super large range makes all enemies dark resistance minus 5,500 points. This skill is so cool. TP Dark Sea of Fire has the same effect as Dark Descent. Yang Tian's next step is to upgrade it to the maximum. Of course, he has just obtained TP Dark Sea of Fire, and it is only LV5 at present, which is a rapid upgrade period. If I use the skill points at this time, it would be a waste. Tisk tisk, what an explosive attribute. When I was level 72 in my previous life, I was far inferior to it Yang Tian's side. At present, his attack attribute is already quite violent. After the Undead Blessing, it will definitely be equally violent. In particular, he is only level 72 now, and most of his undead army are level 72 monsters. If he reaches level 80, his undead army will be level 80 elite monsters or above. At that time, each undead brother has extremely good basic attributes, and with his dark strength, armor penetration, absolute critical strike, and critical strike damage, the combat power is simply sky high. If an undead brother is so terrible, let alone the undead army. What thousands of troops will there be at that time? They are not my enemy in one move. As for the defensive attributes, except for the Bone Shield skill, he has basically given up all of them. Currently, his magic attack is as high as 200,000, LV40 Bone Shield, increased life by 8 million plus, and 1000 points of dark resistance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 293. Of course, Yang Tian has no defensive attributes. No matter how high the health value added by a bone shield is, it is actually just a flower stand. If your defense is very high and the enemy cannot break your defense, then even if you only have tens of thousands of blood, you can still walk sideways. And if you have no defense at all, even if you have millions or tens of millions of lives, you may be killed instantly by a powerful enemy. This is the case with Taeju. It is not that health value is useless, but life and defense are two complementary attributes. Of course, the two attributes are more important than defense, because defense is not just one attribute, but includes basic physical defense, basic magic defense, 4 major element resistance, steel protection, magic protection. So, Does Yang Tian not care about defense? Of course he cares. He just made the most ideal equipment combination under the current limited conditions. He wants to pursue omnipotence, and so do other great gods, and even many high-end players have such ideas. Otherwise, no matter how invincible you are, you can kill the enemy with one sword. But if your skin is very fragile, others can also kill you with one sword. The pursuit of omnipotence is actually a process of climbing to the limit. Omnipotence is not something you can achieve by just saying a few words, but requires various external conditions that really exist. In Taixu, the easiest condition to achieve omnipotence is actually the suit. For example, the previous Goblin Royal Weapon 9-piece set, at the stage of 30-50 at that time, almost all players who had the Royal Weapon 9-piece set were all-powerful, with high attack, high defense, high life, high speed, etc. But now, everyone is already over level 60, or even over level 70, and the level 30 activity suit has naturally been eliminated long ago. In other words, Yang Tian does not care about defense, nor does he give up the pursuit of omnipotence, but at this level, there is no condition to achieve omnipotence, that's all. Of course, from the experience of his previous life, he knew that a new suit would appear soon. Shenwu Empire, Tauran Tribe. Darkness is coming. Dark Sea of Fire. 470,021. 470,021. 470,021. Yang Tian set wildfires on the Tauran tribe and led the team to upgrade. Nowadays, his damage has become higher and higher. Even if the Dark Sea of Fire has only 1% of its output, it only takes 2 seconds to sweep the entire Tauran tribe. LV-100 Darkness descends, making the area within 1,000 yards shrouded in darkness, and all enemies' dark resistance is reduced by 5,500 points. In addition, when the Dark Sea of Fire burns and hits the enemy, the TP Dark Sea of Fire is automatically activated, further reducing the enemy's dark resistance. This has caused the dark resistance of a group of Tauran elites to be reduced again and again, becoming minus 4,100 points. What does dark resistance minus 4,100 points mean? That is to say, as long as it is a dark attribute attack, even if there is no dark strength, the combat power will be doubled by 42 times. What's more, Yang Tian himself has extremely high dark strength. Because of this, his Dark Sea of Fire's group attack DPS has also reached this terrifying level. Oh my god, Brother Shui, what kind of damage is this? Xiao Fei said with a twitch of his mouth, extremely horrified. In fact, his damage is also very high. With a single strike, he can deal up to 3.2 million damage to a Tauran elite and kill it instantly. However, although your strike is not as good as a skill, it is also 100% of the output. Although the Sea of Fire is a skill, it has only 1% of the output because of its large range and continuous burning. Even so, Yang Tian's Sea of Fire burned the entire field, burning 470,000 damage to each Tauran every second. Clearing the field once every 2 seconds, this is really terrible. The Sea of Fire has 1% of the output, and Yang Tian burns 470,000. After his undead transformation, his strike is naturally 47 million, while Xiao Fei only has 3.2 million. The gap is so huge. Abnormal, the rest of the people also took a breath of cold air. Yang Tian smiled faintly and didn't take it seriously. He has the heart of the divine tree, which is a divine product, which increases 1 million mana and restores 10% of mana per second. At present, his mana is as high as 1.4 million. Because of the effect of mana conversion, he has 140,000 more basic magic attack than others. It's normal that he is strong. It would be strange if he is not strong. Let's change places. The Minotaurs are brushed too fast. The experience is good, but there is no way to practice skills, Yang Tian suddenly said. Everyone nodded. It is very pleasant to lie down and level up, but if you don't practice skills for a long time, it's the end of the world. Half an hour later, Yang Tian and others crossed mountains and ridges and gradually arrived at a dense forest. In the depths of the forest, some fierce roars were faintly heard. After Yang Tian and others gradually went deeper, they found that the initiator of the roar was a group of black cyclops monsters. They are about 3 meters long, standing upright, with healthy limbs. They have only one eye, which grows just above the nose. Apart from this feature and a little ugliness, they are quite similar to humans in general. Cyclops, elite monster. Level 100. HP, 1.2 million. Basic physical attack, 60,000. Non-attribute attack. 4 resistances 2,500. Armor break 1,500. Dual guard 2,000. Skills, heavy attack, collision, bite, powerful sweep. Roar. The Cyclops discovered the invaders, howled, and rushed towards Yang Tian and others, waving their huge maces. Darkness is coming. Dark sea of fire. Yang Tian waved his hands repeatedly, making the originally dark forest even more gloomy and terrifying. At the same time, the black sea of fire started from Yang Tian's feet, swept all the way, and instantly spread to the feet of the Cyclops, causing them to be burned and scream. 41,440. 41,440. 41,440. There is no doubt that the Cyclops is worthy of being a level 100 elite monster, and is much more powerful than the Minotaur. Yang Tian can burn 470,000 Minotaur in 1 second, but he can only burn 40,000 in 1 second when burning the Cyclops. Summon Skeleton Warrior * 630. Summon Skeleton Mage * 310. Because the dark sea of fire could not easily burn the Cyclops to death, Yang Tian raised his hand to summon 2 teams of undead, and they killed the Cyclops group in a mighty manner. The Cyclops would no longer place hatred on Yang Tian and others. Thus, the lives of everyone were protected. Recently, Yang Tian has practiced the level of summoning skills higher and higher, and the number of summoned undead has increased. There are only 2 teams of skeletons, but the number is about to exceed 1,000, consuming more than 600,000 mana, causing Yang Tian's mana slot to drop by half instantly. Of course, because of the effect of the Heart of the God tree, his mana slot recovers 1/10 every second. The mana consumption of the Necromancer is too terrifying. Fortunately, Yang Tian has the Heart of the God tree, otherwise he can't bear it at all. Of course, because the Necromancer consumes too much mana, the general Necromancer, if there is any, can only practice 1 or 2 summoning skills at most. And Yang Tian, except for the Steel Cannon Car, all his summoning skills are of high level. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 294. Skeleton Warrior, High Level Monster. Level 72. HP, 70,000. Basic Physical Attack, 8,000. Dark Attribute Attack. Dark Strength 72 plus, 4,300. Dark Resistance 144, Fire and Ice Resistance 80, Light Resistance 0. Armor Penetration 150 plus, 1,150. Double Protection 300. Critical Hit Rate 10% plus, 100%, Critical Damage 20% plus, 280%. Skills, Heavy Attack, Continuous Slash, Shield Attack, Collision, Thrust, War Cry, Sneak Attack. Yang Tian is level 72, and his skeleton warriors and skeleton mages are naturally level 72. In Taixu, the weakest monsters above level 80 are elite monsters. If the skeleton warriors and skeleton mages are only level 72, they are only at the level of high-level monsters. Although they have some attributes, they are really quite ordinary. But Yang Tian's attributes are high. After each of his skeleton warriors and skeleton mages have added his attributes, they have become quite terrifying. Especially, they are all shrouded in an extremely strong dark aura, which is creepy. And that is actually a manifestation of extremely high dark strength. Under the double weakening of darkness and dark sea of fire, TP dark sea of fire, the dark resistance of the Cyclops has become -3100. The attacks of the Undead brothers, hitting them, multiply their combat power by 75.5 times. Heavy attack. Continuous slash. Dark fireball. Dark blade. 200, 1020. 203, 0111. 210, 0302. A team of skeleton warriors and a team of skeleton mages, the total number is 940. Under their concentrated fire, they instantly killed the group of Cyclops. Pervert. They all killed them instantly. What's the difference between you and fighting Minotaurs? Do we still have a chance to practice skills? Huowu rolled her eyes and said angrily. At this point, she had of course given up her determination to compete with Yang Tian. Yang Tian was too strong. The more she compared, the greater the blow she suffered, so she naturally dared not show off. However, every time Yang Tian burst out with powerful strength, she couldn't help but tremble in her heart, feeling extremely insignificant. Khan, okay, you guys go ahead, I'll practice other skills. Yang Tian smiled awkwardly, waved his hand, and cancelled all the undead teams. At present, he really doesn't need to practice summoning skills because he doesn't have enough mana. With his current mana, he can summon up to 2000 undead before he runs out of mana. Extreme summoning consumes double mana. If you use extreme summoning, you will directly run out of mana after summoning 1000 undead. In fact, the number of his 10 teams of undead has exceeded 3000. So, before his mana soars again, he can temporarily stop practicing summoning skills and focus on other skills. After a few seconds, the Cyclops gradually refreshed. Darkness fell, and the dark sea of fire still existed. They were burned by the sea of fire, screaming non-stop, and all of them lost more than 40,000 HP per second. Of course, their health was as high as 1.2 million, and the sea of fire could not easily burn them to death. Armor-piercing arrows. Armor-piercing arrows. Fireball. Huowu, Xiaofeng, Green Algae, and other top shooters have begun to focus their fire, and almost all of them are killed instantly. Little Devil. Yang Tian decisively summoned the Little Devil and let it cooperate with Xiao Jin. Demon Sucker. Xiao Jin strode up and attracted the hatred of all the surrounding Cyclops in an instant. The Cyclops surrounded it crazily and began to attack it crazily. However, it couldn't break the defense. After Xiao Jin stabilized the hatred, everyone rushed forward without thinking and made a last hit without thinking. Yang Tian and others were leveling up and practicing skills safely. After an unknown period of time, a white light flashed in the crowd of Cyclops, and a taller, stronger, and red Cyclops appeared. Red King, Lord Boss. Level 105. HP, 10 million. Basic physical attack, 200,000. Fire attribute attack. Fire strength 5000. Fire resistance 10,000, light and dark 5000, ice resistance 1000. Armor penetration 3000. Dual protection 5000. Skills. The Red King is about 5 meters tall, half a body taller than Xiao Jin. Its whole body is extremely red, burning the air and scalding steam. It carries a huge mace on its shoulder, which looks extremely fierce. It also has only one eye, and because of the influence of absolute control, it is staring at Xiao Jin. Roar. The Red King suddenly roared, opened his bloody mouth, and spewed out a red flame. The red flame was extremely huge. Because of the height advantage of the Red King, Xiao Jin was completely covered in the sea of fire from top to bottom. Even Xianyuan Longer and Gui Xiao, who reacted a little slower and did not have time to escape, were completely hit by the red flame. 200,000. 950,000. 70 million. The damage on the heads of Xiaojin, Xianyuan Longer and Gui Xiao was different at the same time. Xiaojin was a level 72 royal beast. Needless to say, his defense was super strong. Xianyuan Longer happened to have the fire attribute. Her fire resistance was quite high, which offset most of the damage from the Red King. After taking a hit, she only lost a quarter of her life. The Ghost Hand was in a more miserable situation. He was an assassin with almost no defense. The Red King attacked him and dealt almost the maximum damage, up to 70 million. The Ghost Hand was burned to slag by the red flame, and he was deader than dead. "Takier, run back," Yang Tian shouted. Hearing this, Xianyuan and Takier hurriedly turned back, and at this time, Xiaojin tore through the flames and hit the Red King with a sudden blow. Heavy blow. 608,900. Xiaojin's damage was explosive. Even if he attacked the 105th level lord, he still cut off more than half of the boss's blood with one knife. Hiss, the Red King roared in pain, but it was a pity that it had been blinded by hatred, otherwise it might have escaped. Bone Spear. 670-0210. Yang Tian followed up with a bone spear, piercing the Red King's body. As the huge damage emerged, the Red King screamed and fell down. Now Yang Tian's damage is indeed very high. Even if he doesn't use corpse explosion and only uses ordinary skills, his damage is equal to Xiaojin, and even a little bit more. You know, Xiaojin is a royal beast. Yang Tian is actually equal to the royal beast of the same level in combat power, and even a little bit more. This is too terrible and unbelievable. Of course, Yang Tian's full-level darkness descent also played an important role, otherwise, Yang Tian's damage would be much lower, and even unable to break the defense. System, congratulations on your first kill of Red King, and the additional rewards are as follows: skill point add 1, experience value add 2.05 million, 100 gold coins. As the system prompt sounded in his ears, Yang Tian once again received a very generous first kill reward. Of course, there is also a broadcast announcement, but it is only the main city broadcast. This is a level 100 monster area. In the main city connected to this monster area, there are probably no other players except Yang Tian and others. So the main city broadcast is equivalent to invalidation, and it did not further increase Yang Tian's popularity. Of course, Yang Tian doesn't need that little popularity now. Hey, red bead. When Yang Tian walked over to clean up the spoils, he touched a red bead the size of a ping-pong ball and smiled. Red bead, gold quality / rare item after use, permanently increase 5 points of fire strength and 10 points of fire resistance. Note, this item is only valid for the first use. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 295. In Taixu, there are blood, heart, and natural treasures like red beads. Such items can permanently improve attributes, and the effect is amazing. Of course, this red bead doesn't seem to be very powerful, with only 5 points of fire strength and 10 points of fire resistance. There is no way, after all, the red bead is only a gold quality treasure. If it goes up one level and reaches the king level, it will probably be quite amazing. After weighing it, Yang Tian threw the red bead to Huo Wu. She is the only one in the group who is a fire element, and the red bead is most suitable. Yang Tian was born with dark attributes, and Xiao Jin was born with light attributes, so they don't need red beads. It is worth noting that Xianyuan Longer is not a fire attribute either. She has no attributes at all, but she enchants the sword with flame crystals, which turns it into a fire attribute attack. If she enchants the sword with light crystals, it will turn into a light attribute attack. If she enchants the sword with dark crystals, it will turn into a dark attribute attack. Without attributes, you can go with any attribute, but because of the large variability, you need to match a few more sets of corresponding equipment gems, which requires more funds. For people with natural attributes like Yang Tian and Xiao Jin Huo Wu, there is no room for change, so just focus on pursuing that attribute. In short, Xian Yuan Longer can choose any attribute at will, light, dark, fire, ice, as long as she has money, she can switch at will. In fact, Yang Tian has long wanted Xian Yuan Longer to change to dark attribute. Because the effects of darkness coming and dark sea of fire, TP dark sea of fire, reduce the dark resistance of all enemies within the range. At this time, not only Yang Tian, but also his teammates, have advantages as long as they are dark attributes. Those two weakening skills are so cool here, and that is why Yang Tian likes them so much. If possible, he would like to let Huang Mao and even everyone in the team change to dark attributes so that everyone can take the advantages brought by the two group weakening skills. At present, Xian Yuan Longer is only a level 72 lord. But she has the blood of the dragon and is gifted. She is a king at level 80, an emperor at level 100, a spirit gathering at level 120, a fairy at level 150, a saint at level 180, and a god at level 200. She will not have any obstacles or bottlenecks along the way, and in terms of talent and potential, she is much better than Xiao Jin. When the time comes, Yang Tian will let her change to dark attributes, and then she will definitely be the main output in the team. Not long after, Alice performed the resurrection spell and resurrected the ghost hand. Everything returned to calm, and everyone began to level up step by step. In a flash, more than 10 days passed, and the time came to February 7, 2131. As of now, Taizhu has been running for a full half a year. In the Chinese theater, Yang Tian and others still maintain the level advantage, all at level 75. God's left hand also rose to level 75. Shen Yu and a few impact maniacs rose to level 74. The main force is level 73. The number of Chinese players at this level should be more than 100 million. As for the more casual players, and even the rookies, there is no need to say more. The levels are uneven. It is worth mentioning that after many revisions, some contents of the Sunday event Siege Order have changed. The challenged guild, whether it is the first time or not, has the right to refuse. After the revision, the popularity of the Siege Order event instantly cooled down. Those large forces can no longer bully the weak guilds and gain experience buff. On February 7, the world broadcast sounded. World broadcast, on February 8 of this year, the permanent event 5 Elements World will be launched. For more details, please log into the official website for inquiry. World broadcast, due to the need to open the event, the entire server will be shut down for maintenance. All players are requested to log off within 5 minutes. We apologize for the inconvenience. 5 Elements World, it's finally here. Yang Tian smiled, greeted everyone, and went offline. Taking off the helmet, Yang Tian sat up from the sofa, picked up the cup of water on the coffee table, and drank it all. Immediately, Yang Tian took out his mobile phone again and logged into the official website of Taizhu, but found that the update information about 5 Elements World had been released. 5 Elements World is a copy, and the level requirement is above level 60. To enter 5 Elements World, players must first apply, and the system randomly matches 10,000 players with similar levels to enter the copy at the same time. The difficulty of the copy is different due to different player levels. For example, a level 60 player matches into 5 Elements World. There are 10,000 people in the current copy, and their levels are all between 60 and 70. The difficulty of the copy is the same. If you want to play together, that is, form a group, 5 Elements World only allows a maximum of 50 teams, so even if you are the leader of a large group, you can only form a small group of 50 people to match. 5 Elements World is a super large copy, with forests, rivers, and 5 palaces. After players enter the game, they will randomly appear at a certain coordinate in the forest. If they enter as a team, all members of the team will appear in one location. Obviously, playing as a team is much more advantageous than playing alone. Of course, most people who play as a team are playing as a team. There are monsters in the forest of 5 Elements World, but the most important thing is the 5 palaces: Gold Palace, Wood Palace, Water Palace, Fire Palace, and Earth Palace. 5 Elements World has a 5-element suit, which is a royal suit. Gold Palace, various weapons. Wood Palace, various jewelry. Water Palace, various parts of heavy armor. Fire Palace, various parts of leather armor. Earth Palace, various parts of cloth armor. Of course, there will be various materials in the forest. After collecting a certain amount, you can also find relevant NPCs to exchange for sets. In addition, the Zodiac, the guardians of the 12 constellations, Royal Beast level, will occasionally appear in 5 Elements World. Killing them will also get extremely generous rewards. In general dungeons, if players quit before clearing the level, it will be considered a challenge failure. Although they will not drop levels, 20% of the current level of experience will be deducted. If the current level is less than 20% of the experience will be cleared to 0. In 5 Elements World, players can enter and exit as they please, and there is no penalty. However, if you die in the 5 Elements World, whether you are killed by indigenous monsters or other players, 20% of the current level of experience will be deducted. In the 5 Elements World, there are 5 kinds of natural treasures, namely gold, wood, water, etc. Every time a player swallows one of the 5 elements, after entering the 5 Elements World, the 5 attributes will be add 20%. When a player swallows 5 elements and enters the 5 Elements World, the 5 attributes will double. The effect is still quite good, but unfortunately, the 5 kinds of natural treasures will only work in the 5 Elements World. In short, the 5 Elements World is a very good event, which contains various opportunities and challenges. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 296. Taking advantage of the maintenance time, Yang Tian went out to find Huang Mao, Lang Ling, and others, and they had a good time outside together. Early the next morning, Yang Tian went online on time, opened the system list, and found that there was an additional option for World of 5 Elements. Yang Tian is now level 75 and is qualified to enter the World of 5 Elements. As long as he points a little, he will enter the World of 5 Elements. Brother Shui, I've been waiting for you. There's a new event. Let's go and get 2 games together. Xiao Fei and others had been waiting in the Cyclops territory for a long time. When they saw Yang Tian online, they quickly shouted. Good. Yang Tian nodded and accepted the team application from Xiao Fei. After a while, he became the team leader. It's still the same 14-person team as before. System, your team has met the black conditions and is being matched, please wait. Yang Tian immediately clicked the button, and a system prompt sounded in his ears. There are 14 people on Yang Tian's side, all of whom are level 75. The 10,000 people they are matched with should be between level 70 and 80. Of course, the current highest level of players in China Warzone is level 75, and there are no more advanced players. In Yang Tian's group, everyone's level is between 70 and 80, so the system will say the blacklist conditions have been met. If so, if Yang Tian forms another level 60 player, the system will say, sorry, your team does not meet the conditions for opening a black game, please form a new team. In other words, if you want to play Black in World of 5 Elements, the levels of everyone in the team must be at the same stage, so that you can match opponents at the same stage. Darkness is coming. Dark Sea of Fire. While waiting, Yang Tian burst out into the Sea of Fire and burned the Cyclops monsters, not prepared to let go of even a trace of experience. However, he was not even burned to death by a wave of Cyclops, and a system prompt rang in his ears. System, match successful. System, you discovered the 5 Elements world and gained 18,000 experience points. White light flashed continuously, and Yang Tian and others came to a lush forest. Towering trees stood tall, with lush branches and leaves, blocking out the sky and the sun. There was also the sound of water flowing next to it, creating a quiet and peaceful scene. Yang Tian immediately called up the system map and locked his coordinates in the 5 Elements world, as well as the distance to the 5 palaces. The 5 palaces are like pentagons in the 5 Elements world, each with its own corner. At this time, Yang Tian found that he was closest to the Golden Palace. The set produced by the 5 Elements world is called the 5 Elements set. As for the Golden Palace, it comes from the 5 Elements set, various individual weapons, such as the 5 Elements dagger, the 5 Elements staff, the 5 Elements great sword, etc. Let's go, let's clean up the Golden Palace first. Yang Tian smiled and led the group to follow the Golden Palace on the map. Not long after, they discovered an extremely obvious gilded vein. Gilded gold, sandalwood, fire, raw water, hard soil. The above 5 materials are specialties of the 5 Elements world. Their positions are not fixed and are refreshed randomly. For example, if Yang Tian and others exit the dungeon and come in again to find this coordinate, there will probably be no gilt or veins. If you accumulate one copy of each of those 5 materials, you can exchange it with an NPC for a 5 Elements crystal. The 5 Elements crystal is the only material that can be exchanged for the 5 Elements set. The 5 Elements set is an Imperial weapon set, starting at level 60 and reaching a maximum of level 80. A level 65 Elements suit requires 605 Elements crystals. A level 75 Elements suit requires 1005 Elements crystals. A level 85 Elements suit requires 1505 Elements crystals. In front of Yang Tian and others, a golden road 3 yards wide and dozens of yards long appeared on the originally green grass. The golden road is completely different from the surrounding environment. Gee, it's too obvious, gilt veins. This is not 1 or 2 gilt stones, but a vein. If you dig it casually, you can dig out a lot. It is one of the materials that can be exchanged for the Imperial weapon set. Hiss, it's amazing. It is said that there are some mines in the 5 Elements world. In those mines, ordinary ores, iron ores, copper mines, silver mines, gold mines, etc. can be dug. They are no different from the mines outside the dungeon. What's the difference? It's just that there is a small chance of digging out gilded gold. Xiao Fei stared at the gilt or vein with bright eyes, swallowed hard and said, and now we have actually encountered a gilt or vein. You know, the boss of the 5 palaces can directly reveal the finished 5 Elements set. But obviously, the explosion rate is not high, so it is also very important to collect the materials for redeeming the set. Although the gilt mine only produces gilt, the quantity must be huge. Wow! What is that? A vein of gilded ore. Just when Yang Tian and others were gearing up to dig, suddenly, there was a voice of ecstasy, and soon there were some excited and echoing voices. Yang Tian's eyes widened and he looked for fame, only to see a group of 50 players running over quickly. The leader was named Brother Meng. His upper body was bare, revealing his tangled muscles and some barbaric beast tattoos. He carries a battle axe on his shoulder and looks like a berserker. Of course, just because he is shirtless does not mean that he is not wearing breastplate equipment. It is more likely that he has a transparent fashion top and is deliberately shirtless in an attempt to show his strong masculinity. Brother Meng and others came running from the other side. After they discovered the gilded veins, their eyes widened with greed and nothing else. They didn't even notice Yang Tian and others at all. At Meng Ji's command, everyone took out their shovels and started mining. For a moment, dust was flying. It was hard to imagine that they could easily dig out gold. Hiss, it's a vein. The output is too high. More importantly, the area of this vein is quite large. According to the explosion rate of gold, I estimate that if we dig all the veins, there will be at least 3,000 golds. Meng Ji and others laughed wildly while mining. It should be noted that any material such as gold or sandalwood can be sold for at least 100 yuan, no more and no less. 3,000 golds, conservatively estimated to be more than 300,000 yuan. This is equivalent to picking up money. How can Meng Ji and others not be surprised? It is also worth mentioning that in general mines and mining areas, you can mine infinitely. Because the system will refresh infinitely. As for the veins, digging a little bit less, and there will be nothing left after digging. The size of the ore veins is also different, some are very small, and some are very large. The gilded ore vein in front of everyone is of medium size. Great, we are rich now. Brother Meng was ecstatic for a short time when he saw his brothers digging out gilded ore after gilded ore. Great. I think you are looking for death. Yang Tian sneered, and it was not until then that Brother Meng and others finally found Yang Tian. They were stunned, and then they roared together and rushed towards Yang Tian and others. Obviously, they could not give up this gilded ore vein. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 297. Don't overestimate your own capabilities. Seeing Brother Meng and others rushing towards him, Yang Tian smiled disdainfully and raised his hand to shoot out a sea of dark fire. With a chi sound, blazing fire burst out from under the feet of Brother Meng and others. 150,021. 178,022. 144,022. Huge burns flashed across the screen, and in an instant, most of Meng's team was wiped out, leaving only 5 people including Meng. And those 5 people are all warriors or knights with high defense and thick health. Damn, what a terrifying sea of fire. It's just like cheating. Brother Meng was shocked when he saw a group of boys burn to death in an instant. You know, whether it is a sea of fire or a sea of dark fire, there is only 1% damage. Brother Meng has an elemental mage under him, who is considered a first-class master. His magic attack is as high as 35,000 and his fire power is exactly 3,000 points. 1% of the output of the Sea of Fire is about 350 points. Even if the opponent has no fire resistance, no magic protection, and is burned for real damage, 10,050 blood points will be burned in that second. In fact, how can you expect that the other party has no fire resistance at all and no magic protection? In other words, Sea of Fire is basically a skill that consumes and disgusts enemies. The Sea of Fire is like this, let alone the Sea of Dark Fire? Is Dark Fire Sea weaker than Fire Sea? No, they are exactly the same, just one with a dark attribute and one with a fire attribute. But from a practical point of view, Dark Sea of Fire is undoubtedly weaker, mainly because the Necromancer's output is low, so it is weaker. However, Brother Meng did not expect that the Necromancer in front of him could kill people instantly with the use of Dark Sea of Fire. Hey, even a mere sea of darkness and fire can kill someone instantly. This world is so crazy. Several shield warriors beside Brother Meng also trembled in their hearts. At this stage, first-class masters, not great masters, only have 30,000 to 50,000 physical or magical attacks. They probably won't believe it until their death. Yang Tian's magic attack is as high as 200,000, which is comparable to the same level of imperial beasts. Darkness is coming. Yang Tian waved his hand, and for a moment dark clouds filled the sky, as if the entire sky had darkened. As their vision dimmed, Brother Meng and others were horrified to discover that their dark resistance had been weakened by 5,500 points, instantly turning into a large negative number. Brother Meng swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva and wanted to curse, but before he could finish his words, he was burned alive. After Brother Meng and the other two fell, only the last two shield warriors were left in the dark sea of fire. Shield warriors come with their own protection, and their defensive capabilities are indeed not comparable to those of other professions. 9,000. 9,200. Even though Yang Tian activated darkness, he could only barely break through the two people's defenses, dealing 9,000 damage per second. This is normal. After all, the output of Sea of Fire or Sea of Dark Fire is only 1%. Yang Tian's output is equivalent to 100 times lower self-power, but he can still inflict more than 9,000 damage to the shield warrior, which is actually enough to be proud of. Phew. At this moment, Xiao Figui ran out with his hands left and right. As they ran, they skillfully activated stealth, and their bodies disappeared into the shadows. Yang Tian's dark sea of fire will naturally not harm them, so they can safely dive into the sea of fire to target the two shield warriors. With their strength, it was very easy to kill two shield warriors. Click. But at this moment, with an explosion, the earth burned by the dark sea of fire suddenly exploded. Immediately, an extremely huge, red crab jumped out of the ground. That collapsed piece of land happened to be where the gilded veins were located. Following the destruction of the giant red crab, a large amount of gilt material appeared and fell into the blazing flames. The so-called real gold is not afraid of fire, and gilt gold is not afraid of fire. So don't worry at all, the sea of fire will financialize those scattered gilts. However, although the gilt is not afraid of fire, the giant red crab opened its mouth wide and produced endless suction, swallowing up all the rolling black fire and even the huge amount of gilt scattered on the ground. Everyone present was stunned. What the hell did the crab do to eat all the gold? That's hundreds of thousands of yuan, Huowu screamed, feeling extremely painful. Everyone else also felt dizzy. There was once hundreds of thousands of RMB placed in front of me, but I didn't cherish it, and ended up being eaten by a crab. Even the two shield warriors felt a dryness in their mouths. It was crazy. Now that things have happened, they naturally don't have any thoughts about those gilded objects, but it still feels extremely unreal to them to see those gilded objects being swallowed up by monsters. Immediately, they reacted and laughed wildly, haha, a bunch of SBS. Are you getting retribution for robbing our gilded veins? If we can't get it, you can't get it either. Hearing this, everyone was so angry that they were fuming. CIAO, what do you mean we rob? We were the first to discover that gilt vein. From the very beginning, you were the one grabbing it, okay. The huge crimson crab, more than 5 meters tall, looks domineering, especially the two huge and powerful pincers, which are intimidating, as if it can cut people off at the waist with just a pinch. What is even more puzzling is that its big mouth actually swallowed up all the gilded and even Yang Tian's dark sea of fire. The guardian of cancer. Until then, Yang Tian suddenly spoke in a flat voice. But there was a rare excitement in his eyes. Yes, it was excitement. Even if he lost the batch of gilded worth hundreds of thousands of RMB, he was still excited. It is said that the zodiac will appear in the 5 elements world, that is, the guardians of the 12 constellations, at the level of royal beasts. If you kill them, you will get an extremely generous reward. That crab is the guardian of cancer? Tisk tisk, I thought the guardians of the constellations were all in human form. After Yang Tian finished speaking, everyone exclaimed. Previously, the disappointment caused by the swallowing of the gilded gradually disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by ecstasy. You know, the boss of the 5 palaces is fixed, and you can brush it every time you enter the 5 elements world. But the Constellation Guardian is extremely rare. It is possible that you can't meet one even if you play it 10,000 times. Obviously, even a fool, thinking with his butt, knows that the value of the Constellation Guardian is very high, and it is very likely to explode unimaginable good things. Guardian of Cancer Fire Spoon, Royal Beast / Intelligent Life. Level 74. HP, 34 million. Basic physical attack, 340,000. Fire attribute attack. Fire strength 7,000. Fire resistance 14,000, ice resistance 14,000, light and dark resistance 10,000. Armor penetration 3,500. Dual Guardian 5,000. Skills. Constellation Guardians are different. Each constellation has more than one Guardian. It should be noted that Cancer is a water sign. There is no water attribute in Taegesu, only ice attribute. So the general Cancer Guardians are all ice attributes, but this Fire Spoon is quite special. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 298. This fire crab in front of me is obviously of fire attribute. Cancer is a water sign, which has to be said to be an extremely contradictory existence. It is obviously of fire attribute, but its ice resistance is not low, and it can even be said to be very high. It should be noted that in Taegesu, light overcomes darkness. Dark monsters generally have a light resistance of 0 or even a negative number. Ice overcomes fire. Fire monsters generally have an ice resistance of 0 or even a negative number. Light and ice are relatively lucky and have no nemesis. Of course, the so-called restraint mostly happens to monsters, and players and NPCs are not restrained because their attributes come more from equipment. For example, Yang Tian, although he has a dark attribute, he can completely rely on equipment to stack light resistance. The fire crab has a fire resistance of 14,000, an ice resistance of 14,000, and both light and dark resistance are 10,000. This is really too scary. Although the Constellation Guardian is a royal beast, it is much more powerful than ordinary royal beasts. Look, although this fire crab in front of us is only a level 74 royal beast, its attributes are far superior to the level 75 royal beast we have brushed. At this time, everyone's eyes were fixed on the fire scoop. After seeing through some of its attributes, they all exclaimed in amazement. Haha, you deserve it? You attacked us, and now you are getting retribution, right? Not only did you lose the gilded vein, but now you will be killed by that crab. The 2 shield warriors under Meng Ji's command laughed wildly in revenge when they saw this. However, the next moment, their laughter stopped abruptly, and they saw Xiao Fei's ghost hand attack, knocking them out with a club, and then started a combo. After a while, Xiao Fei's ghost hand killed the 2. Human, you disturbed my sleep, you all deserve to die. Huo Xiao spoke in human language, opened one of his pincers, and a raging flame burst out from it, killing Xiao Fei's ghost hand in the blink of an eye. Xiao Jin. Yang Tian called out softly, and Xiao Jin rushed up with a sword. At the same time, Huang Mao also summoned Xiao Bai, and rushed up with Xiao Jin. So 2 level 75 Emperor Beasts dealt with a level 74 Cancer Guardian. Heavy attack. Thunder punishment. 140,000. 130,302. Xiao Jin slashed with a sword, and Xiao Bai summoned a lightning bolt to strike Huo Xiao, but it only left a shallow scar, and the damage was extremely limited. After Huo Xiao was enraged, the 2 huge pincers clenched tightly, like 2 hammers, bursting out with infinite power, and smashed towards Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai one after another. It is hard to imagine that its damage is much higher than that of Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai, and both of them have dealt more than 1 million damage. At this pace, even if Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai join forces, they are definitely not the opponents of Huo Xiao. Sure enough, Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai's combat power is now below mine. Yang Tian raised his eyebrows and laughed secretly. He was not exaggerating, it was the fact. The main reason is that he has the full level darkness coming, which weakens the enemy's dark resistance by 5,500 points. This is actually equivalent to increasing his dark strength by 5,500 points. You know, even Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai, these two level 75 light attribute royal beasts, currently have only about 7,000 light strength, which is just a little more than Yang Tian's skill. And Yang Tian himself has a high dark strength, so there is a gap. And the undead under Yang Tian's command are more powerful than Yang Tian. Darkness coming weakens the dark resistance of all enemies within the range, which is equivalent to increasing the dark strength of Yang Tian and all his teammates. However, Yang Tian's teammates can only enjoy this increase if they have dark attributes. Otherwise, for those who are not dark attributes, even if they increase their dark strength, it will be useless, right? The undead under Yang Tian are naturally dark attributes. When attacking enemies whose dark resistance is weakened, they will naturally enjoy the increase in combat power. On this basis, the dark strength, armor penetration, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage of Yang Tian will be increased by the undead army under his command. Theoretically speaking, any undead summoned by the Necromancer is much stronger than the Necromancer himself. Yang Tian is quite special. His basic magic attack is as high as 200,000, but this attribute, the undead army cannot bless it. Yang Tian is level 75, and his undead army is all level 75. Among them, the basic magic attack of high-level monsters is too low, so their combat power is still not as good as Yang Tian. But the combat power of the boss-level undead is obviously superior to Yang Tian. Summon the Black Knight. Yang Tian waved his hand and cast a black summoning array in front of him, and 20 Black Knights appeared immediately. They immediately summoned undead war horses to ride on, each of them looked majestic and domineering. Yang Tian, 200,000 basic magic attack, 4,300 dark power, 1,150 armor penetration, absolute critical strike damage 2.8 times. Black Knight, 80,000 basic physical attack, 6,100 dark power, 2,700 armor penetration, absolute critical strike damage 4.5 times. Ordinary Black Knights are definitely not so strong. It's all because Yang Tian is too strong. The Black Knights under his command bless his attributes and become stronger to a terrifying degree. Coupled with the weakening of the fire scoop by the advent of darkness, the Black Knights can definitely cause extraordinary damage to it. Death Charge. Even when Xiao Jin and Xiao Bai were fighting with Huo Xiao, a team of 20 Black Knights turned into blurry black shadows and leaped forward, crossing an unknown distance of several yards and crashed into Huo Xiao. 180-0000 180-0000 180-0000. Instantly, a series of huge damage appeared on the top of Huo Xiao's head, and the full blood tank was left with only a trace of residual blood, as if it would die at any time. Even after bearing the attack of the Black Knights, Huo Xiao actually soared into the sky, and his body retreated uncontrollably backwards. The dignified Cancer Guardian, was actually beaten away by a group of lords. How is it possible? The gap between the royal beast and the lord is simply heaven and earth. Generally speaking, in the eyes of the royal beast, let alone a mere 20 lords, even if there are 100 or 10,000, what? They are all ants. However, the Black Knights under Yang Tian are not ordinary lords. Within the range of the darkness, the combat power of each of them is completely better than that of the royal beasts of the same level. The damage deepened. 360-0000. Yang Tian decisively snapped his fingers, and the wound on Huo Xiao's body expanded. Finally, he exploded with a bang and died. Countless coins, materials, equipment and other spoils of war burst out like rain. The colorful spoils piled up like a colorful hill. However, even though the spoils were so rich, Huang Mao Huao and others had no time to care. They all stared at Yang Tian as if they had seen a ghost. Finally, Huao swallowed a mouthful of saliva with some difficulty and said, "At this point, I can't understand it. Is this guy perverted, or is the necromancer perverted?" Huang Mao shook his head and smiled. "It is undeniable that the profession of necromancer is very perverted. The point is that ordinary people can't play to his level." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 299. It should be noted that compared with ordinary necromancers, Yang Tian only has high mana, fast mana recovery, and high basic magic attack. And those advantages are nothing more than the heart of the sacred tree and the conversion of magic energy. Without the heart of the sacred tree and the conversion of magic energy, Yang Tian would never have reached this point today. And the strange thing is that the strength of the undead under Yang Tian has nothing to do with his advantages. In other words, even if they are ordinary necromancers, even if they don't have as terrifying mana and magic attack as Yang Tian, they can still stack up their dark strength, armor penetration, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage. And as long as these attributes are met, the undead army under his command will be quite violent. For this reason, Huo Wu will sigh, is Yang Tian a pervert, or is the necromancer a pervert? Not only Huo Wu, in fact, many people present, after seeing the violent Black Knight team, all swallowed their saliva wildly, and had the urge to delete their accounts and practice necromancers again. Facing the fiery eyes of the crowd, Yang Tian chuckled and said, "Why, you also want to play the necromancer?" Everyone nodded shyly. "I do have this impulse. I will retrain the necromancer. Even if I am not as good as you in mana and basic magic attack, the number of the undead army under my command is certainly not as good as yours, but the strength of the undead will probably not be much worse than yours." Huo Wu raised her eyebrows and said, "It's just stacking dark power, armor penetration, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage. She can also stack them." It should be noted that the attributes of the boss level undead are already very high. If the attributes of the necromancer are continued, it will be even more amazing. Maybe. But in fact, if my mana and basic magic attack were only average, I would not have reached this point now. Yang Tian smiled and said, "Do you understand what I said? It is undeniable that after the necromancer grows up, he is quite terrible, and will become more and more terrible. Yang Tian is just starting out now. When he reaches level 80, the weakest of his undead army are elites, which is another qualitative leap. But in fact, the real difficulty of the necromancer is the painful process of growth. The necromancer profession is indeed very strong, but it is difficult to play. High mana and high basic magic attack are my advantages, which seem to have nothing to do with the strength of the undead. But along the way, if I didn't have those advantages, I would be a third-rate player, no output, few undead, garbage equipment, no damage from corpse explosion. In that case, I can't grab the first kill, can't grab skill points, I wouldn't have come this far, maybe I would have deleted my account and started over." Yang Tian stared at everyone and sighed. He was hypocritical. After all, with his strength and experience in his previous life, he could probably play even if he played a nurse. But it is undeniable that along the way, if he really missed magic energy conversion and heart of the sacred tree, he would definitely not be able to reach his current level, and his future achievements would definitely be limited. Instead of being like now, He has unlimited possibilities. Haha, you should be more careful. Now you are at the first level, each of you has a lot of skill points, and each of your accounts is comparable to a god level account. If you can sell it, I don't know how much it can be sold for. If you can't play with such an awesome account, I will scold you. You actually want to delete your account and start over, Huang Mao said half seriously and half jokingly. Everyone laughed when they heard it. Of course, they were just joking and sighing at Yang Tian's strength. If they were asked to delete their accounts and start over, they would not be willing to do so. At this time, Yang Tian and others walked towards the pile of spoils that the fire scoop exploded. Almost all the coins, materials, and equipment were automatically piled on the ground, but there was a ball of flame suspended in the air. Origin of fire, special item after use, the player is in the 5 elements world, and the 5 attributes are at 20%. Yang Tian was not polite and directly grabbed the ball of flame and swallowed it in one gulp. It seems that he has swept through the 5 elements world and is invincible, but in addition to the natives, players in the 5 elements world also have to be careful of players, such as Menga and others who were met before. Fortunately, Menga and others are not particularly strong. What if they encounter the existence of God's left hand? In short, Yang Tian must seize every opportunity to improve. Only in this way can he maintain his advantage and even expand his advantage further. In addition to the origin of fire, the Guardian of Cancer also exploded a lot of good things, royal equipment, royal gems, natural furnaces. Of course, there are only 2 things that really make Yang Tian's eyes light up. Guardian of Cancer, royal equipment. Level 1. Equipment type, title. Strength add 1000. Intelligence add 1000. Unique passive, when attacking, damage is doubled. Lucky version, strengthening crystal, royal quality. Use this item to strengthen equipment, success rate add 10%. Oh my, what a terrible title, double the damage, Huang Mao exclaimed. He was like this, and the others were already scared silly. Even Yang Tian was quite moved. You should know that his title heavy price also doubles the damage, but there is a condition, it can only be triggered if a team member dies in battle, and it only lasts for 1 minute at a time. And the title Low-Key Warrior triples the back attack. In short, there are some limitations, and it is not something that can be used casually. And the title of Guardian of Cancer in front of him has no restrictions at all, and the damage is doubled directly. This is really a bit awesome. Hey, didn't you notice? Titles can actually be exploded. Xiao Fei was resurrected by Alice a long time ago, and couldn't help but sigh. Who cares, it's enough to make sure it's a good thing. Huang Mao patted Xiao Fei's shoulder and smiled. Yang Tian squatted down, picked it up and put it on. Lucky, just came to the 5 elements world, and I have a huge harvest. Yang Tian smiled. It is worth noting that the Undead only blesses the 4 types of dark power, armor penetration, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage of the Necromancer. It does not bless any other attributes. Therefore, the damage doubling effect of Yang Tian's 3 titles cannot be blessed by the Undead army under his command. Yang Tian himself will definitely have a good effect, especially the corpse explosion. The damage is already high, and if it is doubled, it will be simply. Of course, the corpse explosion and the sea of fire have no back attack judgment, so they cannot bless the effect of the low-key warrior. It is said that there are 12 zodiac signs in the 5 elements world, that is, guardians of the 12 constellations. Since the Guardian of Cancer can get a title, I think the guardians of other constellations can also get powerful titles, Xiao Fei suddenly said, with a look of longing. Everyone was very excited when they heard this, and they were eager to know what the titles of the guardians of other constellations would be like. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 300. The title of the constellation is indeed very strong, making everyone focus on it, even ignoring the lucky version, Strengthening Gem. In Taeju, only weapons and equipment can be strengthened and enchanted, not jewelry. Strengthen add 1, success rate 90%. Strengthen add 2, success rate 80%. Strengthen. Strengthen add 9, success rate 10%. Strengthen add 10, success rate 1%. Strengthen add 11, success rate 1%. Enchanting in Taeju is 100% successful, but strengthening is very messed up and has a very high failure rate. Strengthening add 9 is basically the limit. If you continue to strengthen it, the success rate is only 1%, once it fails, all the equipment gems will be destroyed. The character with this kind of probability is really not worth fighting for. Although a bicycle turns into a motorcycle, and a motorcycle turns into a sports car, if it fails, it can be said that it will be a loss. Because of this, everyone is quite disapproving of the lucky version, enhanced gem. Isn't it just to increase the success rate by 10%, which is not very good. After strengthening add 10, the success rate is only 11%. It is still too timid to continue strengthening. However, Yang Tian is different. He also has a royal ring, the symbol of the king. Its additional skills, Lucky Addition, which consumes 1 gold coin. Within 60 seconds, when strengthening equipment, the current success rate will be doubled. The explosion rate of the king's weapon and golden equipment is increased by 10 times. It should be noted that every time Yang Tian kills a boss, lord or above, he will habitually turn on the lucky bonus. In other words, it only consumes 1 gold coin. If you buy any king grade or golden equipment, you will definitely make a profit. However, although Yang Tian did not forget to activate the lucky charm, in fact, he would not even look at the royal weapons and golden equipment. Now that things have happened, his vision has gradually become higher and higher, and he is no longer interested in anything that is not an imperial weapon or above. As for the effect of adding luck to strengthen equipment, it has never been done before. Because he thinks it is unnecessary. Some junk equipment, and it is just upgraded and overused, will be eliminated at any time. Does it really need to be strengthened? But now, he has reached level 75, and his upgrade is getting slower and slower. It is undeniable that this stage is no longer the early stage of Taeju, but the middle stage. He believes that at least level 80 equipment has the meaning of strengthening. Equipment enhancement add 9, success rate 10%, luck increases tenfold, success rate 100%. In other words, if Yang Tian strengthens the equipment from 1 to 9, all of them have a 100% success rate. Equipment enhancement add 10, success rate 1%, luck increases tenfold, success rate 10%. Although Yang Tian had not strengthened his equipment before, even if it was strengthened, he would never dare to upgrade his equipment to 10, because the 10% chance was too low and he was unwilling to gamble. However, that is only the case with ordinary strengthening gems. If it's a lucky gem. Equipment enhancement add 10, success rate 11%, luck increase 10 times, success rate 100%. Overflow does not count, 100% means absolute success. Equipment enhancement add 11, success rate 11%, luck increase 10 times, success rate 100%. In other words, as long as he has enough lucky enhancement gems, he can enhance the equipment to unlimited. To be honest, even he doesn't know where the limit of enhancement is. Because even in the previous life, the weapon could only be strengthened by add 31 at most, and that was the only one, and it was from a foreign country. In this life, haha, wherever the upper limit of your enhancement is, I can strengthen it to that extent. Tisk, tisk, if the upper limit of enhancement is add 100, as long as I get enough lucky enhancement gems, wouldn't I be able to create a magic weapon with add 100 enhancement? Yang Tian's eyes lit up, and his heart became turbulent. In the previous life, that gringo was so arrogant with a mere at 31 weapon. If so, if I come out with a at 100 weapon, wouldn't it make him kneel down and call him daddy? The guardians of the constellations each possess rare treasures, and the explosion rate is very high, but it is a pity that they cannot explode the 5 elements suit. Yang Tian took down the fire ladle, cleaned up the loot, and then led the group towards the Golden Palace. Not long after, Yang Tian and others arrived in front of a magnificent hall. In addition to them, several other teams arrived. There was a square beneath everyone's feet. On the square, there were many dead soldiers in golden armor standing. The golden armored dead warriors are all level 75 high-level monsters and pose little threat to everyone. Except for Yang Tian and others, there are many other savages and many teams have begun to hunt the golden armored dead warriors. Unexpectedly, there is a chance that the golden armored dead warrior will burst into gold. Although the probability is extremely low, everyone still enjoys it. Yang Tian smiled faintly. Of course he would not take the golden armored death soldier seriously. With a wave of his hand, he led the group towards the entrance of the palace. I saw that in front of the closed palace door, there were 2 elite-level golden armored warriors, guarding on both sides of the palace door. However, the level 80 elite level is, at best, the level of a Tauran guard. Xiaojin rushed forward to clear the way, slashed the 2 of them with 2 swipes, and exploded 2 gilded stones and some junk materials. Yang Tian walked over and picked it up. At the same time, Xiaojin blew open the palace door. Yang Tian waved his hand and led the group to rush in. Brothers, the muddy water has opened the palace door. Let's go in too. Maybe we will gain something at this time, someone in the square said bewilderedly. It should be noted that since they were matched by Yang Tian, they were obviously masters above level 70. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at each other, nodded secretly, and then followed Yang Tian and others into the dungeon. After all, the 5 elements world is a dungeon, and some of the monsters and natives in it will not be refreshed again after being killed. The golden armored warriors in the square have long been killed by everyone. If they don't enter the palace gate, to be honest, they don't know where to go. Inside the palace gate is a martial arts training ground, where a group of soldiers who are stronger than the golden armored warriors are practicing martial arts. Golden Armor General, Li Gang, Elite/Intelligent Life. Level 80. HP, 880,000. Skills, Heavy Attack, Continuous Slash. The golden armored warriors are all dead things. The golden armor generals are living humans, each of them is a level 80 elite, and they are all intelligent life, with their own will and thinking. It can be said that they are NPCs in the 5 elements world. Darkness is coming. Dark Sea of Fire. 900,201. 900,201. 900,201. It's just a level 80 elite, no matter if it's a wild monster or an intelligent life. For Yang Tian, it doesn't make any difference, just set it on fire and burn it. A terrible thing happened, the group of warriors rolled and roared madly in the black flames, and in just a moment, the world became quiet. Yang Tian dispersed the sea of fire, and the martial arts training ground was full of corpses and the ground was full of spoils. Hiss, what kind of damage is that? The Sea of Fire has 1% of its output, and it can kill a level 80 elite in seconds. Hey, I can only deal this much damage with my skills. The group of people who followed Yang Tian and others in all gasped and were collectively petrified.